All
All right.
right, everybody. Hello, colleagues. Here's Kevin. Throw me more curveballs. Second live today, second launch. Really excited about this one. Sean from RPhAlly, Kevin from RPhAlly, and now we have Kristin Tallent, Dr. Kristin Tallent, PharmD from RPhAlly. I'm excited about this launch, Kristin, because you have already established how to, help independent pharmacies launch laboratory point of care testing, but it's not just limited to pharmacies, right? So
No.
now let's Kristin jump in 1 second. I'm going to hand it over to Kevin to throw you a nice, easy question.
Easy, no easy questions, Kristin. But I will say this before the start. Kristin was one of the first people with RPhAlly that was really pushing, like, we need this. We need to get together. She saw a real need inside a pharmacy to be able to advocate for the group. So I thank her for that. We did a lot of things with, pushing across lawyer components back and forth across the table to make sure everything was structured appropriately. And so she's got a lot of that work, and a lot of our thought leaders should be thankful for what Kristin did right off the bat. But the other things that you're doing is continuing to push the envelope inside the profession, Kristin. So my question is really this to you, and we've seen the bio, we've seen kind of the short excerpt, but give us kind of the personal story behind, like, you're a pharmacist, right? But tell us more, like, why did you want to do what you're doing right now?
Yeah, Kevin. And, I'm so excited to be part of this. So thank you guys, both of you, Sean, Kevin, for making me a part of this. But my journey began, I spent majority of my career up until a couple of years ago in independent pharmacy. And I had a bigger vision for them than they had for themselves. And so I just eventually decided, you know what? I need to take matters into my own hands and take control of my career. And so I started diving into how I could even do that as a pharmacist. And really, I stumbled upon clinical services, and that's where the gold mine was. And I just started trial and error, really, right? That's what we all do. We just kind of trial and error, and you're just one foot in front of the other. And it might be a couple steps forward, a couple steps back, but it's all positive motion. And so at the time, I knew point of care testing was a thing, but I couldn't really figure out where that was going to fit into my career, if at all. And functional medicine was really where my heart was and still is, but the pandemic happened. So we have this huge health emergency, and I'm in an area and I'm looking around, and it felt like to me, like if I was a patient and I had no healthcare experience, it felt like to me that nobody was doing anything. And I couldn't help but think to myself, I think I can open a testing facility with this point of care testing that I knew about. And so that's really where it all happened, because that's exactly what I ended up doing. I opened my own testing facility. It's still open today. And through that journey, I decided really early on in that journey, I knew that other pharmacists around this entire country needed to be doing point of care testing, and why weren't we already? And so through my own experiences, I have continued to just build out this thing that takes all of the, oh my gosh, the time consuming digging of trying to figure out how exactly to do something new. I mean, really, that's something that not everybody is necessarily doing. And so that's kind of where it all came from.
No, that's so cool and so gritty. Like, that's the thing I love. Like, I feel like there's anything that happens in, like, community pharmacy mentalities that I absolutely love, and I feel like all of us could learn from, is just like that tenacity, right? To see, like, there is a need, I'm going to find a way to fill it, and do it really well for my community. So I think that's fantastic. But Sean, I'll kick it over to you for our next question for Kristin.
Yeah, I love it, Kristin. I love that you just really have that walking the walk attitude, and then now you're willing to share with the rest of the pharmacists. I think that's amazing. And right, we need to do this. Why RPhAlly? Why'd you join?
Oh, because we need to come together. And when Kevin started talking to me about how, we have this vision and every pharmacist is going to be an expert in a different area, I thought it was genius, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to conferences or whatever where a big group of like-minded people, pharmacists, are together, and thinking to myself, look at all these incredible people. If we could just get on the same page, imagine what we can do. And so that's really what lights me up about RPhAlly and the mission. And I think it's great to have a bunch of leaders in one space where people can kind of pull from whatever it is that they might need or be interested in, and just be on like the fast path. We've all done it. We've all trudged through the mud. And so we just, yes, of course, there's this financial commitment, but it is going to get you results way faster than just trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, we talked about financial commitments, you know, Kristin, a little bit with Jenna, and like the residency component of like, this is how much it costs you, like in general. And I'd love for your kind of purview, because you know the hard dollars behind doing and putting together what you did and what you've accomplished over that period of time. And I know for me as like a hospital pharmacy director, like bringing on new programs, doing new things in the hospital, it wasn't free. Like it wasn't free in labor, it wasn't free in hours, it wasn't free in legal costs. So I mean, I would love for you to kind of give us a little bit of a dive into like what kind of things you've gone through, because sometimes we don't talk finance enough inside of pharmacy, and we don't realize like how much these things really cost if you want to be good at them and execute them and make them real. So give me a little dive into that, Kristin, like what you kind of had to go through and what expenses you'd put out there just to make, you know, what you've done.
Yeah. And so first of all, I think the cost of not doing it is enormous. And for me, my personal thing, what, you know, the grit, the tenacity, that came from $175,000 in student loans. I was done paying the monthly payment. I was determined to figure out a way to not do it. And I'm not happy that there was a public health emergency, but it did really change my life. And it wasn't the health emergency that changed my life. It was the fact that I saw something that my community needed and I solved the problem. And that's exactly what pharmacists do all the time. So there was that cost, but to actually start testing, it was minuscule. Like you can start testing for less than $5,000, training and testing included. It's low hanging fruit. The time that I put in, I couldn't even tell you how much time. Like if we had to put a dollar amount to every hour, I have no idea, probably an enormous amount of time.
Wow.
But it's been incredible. And to get involved in doing this yourself as another pharmacist, it really is a relatively inexpensive thing to get into. And there's not that huge of a learning curve either.
Awesome. Yeah. And that really leads into what Sean and I's next question really was for you is you already mentioned like the cost of not starting. You know, you and I have talked about it before, like we're the medication experts. Part of being medication experts is understanding every element of treatment. Part of that treatment is point of care testing. Part of that treatment is laboratory monitoring, you know, and you have that background of getting people set up, getting them to understand those things, and then broadening their clinical skill set. So that being said, what should individuals expect when they come into your channel? Like, what is their experience going to be like? Really dive into like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to accomplish together.
It is going to be testing on a silver platter. Like, I'm just giving it to you. Whatever questions you have that I might not have already answered, I will answer. If I don't know it, I will find it. But the goal is to really support you throughout this journey, because you can really get set up and started right away. But then, and do it pretty quickly within a month, maybe two, if your state is taking a long time to approve your lab certificate. But outside of that, it's just about where you want to take things, and then having the support that you need to go ahead and expand on that. So you might start with 1 to 3 tests, but then, you know, where do you want to take it from there? Because the sky is the limit, really. I mean, everywhere, anything from your COVID, flu, strep, A1C, lipid panels, INRs, H. pylori, things that people don't even realize that you can test for. And so I just feel like the sky's the limit, because then not only are you doing that under a CLIA certificate, but then you have the ability to start other like lab services. You can expand in other ways and start to order regular blood work or full thyroid panels, hormone panels, stool tests. And then do you see how this now very easily then like unfolds into, well, now you're doing functional medicine consultations. So you're getting money from testing, you're providing this service for consults. It's just starts to really kind of snowball.
So Sean, I'm going to rein in my fieriness because Sean likes to make sure that Kevin stays PC, which I praise Sean for. But there is a certain company that announced recently that they're going to do more point of care testing and more like medical clinical services inside of their purview. They're a large big three company, and I'll reserve all other statements related to that. But here's the thing that Kristin's talking about that I'm so excited about. We can do it better. Like we can do it on a whole nother level. Like it can be done in a really exciting way. And the other piece I'll say is they're a large retail pharmacy chain. What Kristin is doing right here, and I'd love Kristin to kind of broaden it, but it doesn't matter if you have an ambulatory pharmacy background, if you're a solo entrepreneur, if you're working in a hospital system, like knowing more about point of care testing, what it is, what it isn't, what laboratory services look like, and how you're able to utilize those inside of your background, I think is so important. And Kristin, to really dive into a little more that you've already talked about is customization. Like when it comes to your channel, you know, a lot of people I think are thinking, well, another channel means like another program that's just like set in stone. This is the path we're going to take. But talk a little bit about like that customization of the folks that are coming in there and how you're going to be able to take care of like their individual needs and make sure that they get the experience out that they want. Because a year with you, like I know I'm brilliant compared to what I was before just by knowing you, right? Just this amount of time we spent together, you added value, right? Having an entire year, right? What does the customization look like? And what does that kind of process look like as you're kind of stepping through a year's worth of Kristin Tallent?
Yeah, definitely. So you're going to come into the channel and you'll have access to pre-made videos so that you can go through those videos at your own pace. And the way that I've created them and laid them out is to take you step by step through the process. So if you, and again, like I said, it's all spelled out. There's resources that go with some different videos to help you work through some different things along the way. But just working through those videos can take you from A to Z and get your whole lab up and running. But then the continued support piece, I'm always going to be present in the channel. We're going to do regular office hours so that we're live, just like you and I are right now, you guys and I are now. And we can go ahead and have like actual conversations about what's going on in your particular situation, whether that's brainstorming where to even do this. You know, most pharmacists don't have a location. So where do I start with all this? I need a business, first of all. I need a location, and I have so many ideas on how you can get your own locations. You know, what should I test for? How do I do market analyses to even know what I should test for? How much is it going to cost? The pricing structures that you could use to actually sell it, and a lot of strategy. I think it's great to just jump in and get it going. But then at some point, you need a strategic approach so that you're not kind of scrambling and throwing spaghetti at the wall already. And since I've already been there, I want to do nothing but kind of hold your hand throughout the whole process.
Awesome. That's fantastic, Kristin. Sean, I'm going to throw it back to you, buddy, for any parting words and any other things from Kristin before we wrap up.
No, I love it, Kristin. And I love that you said you can be going within a couple months. You know, I mean, but you'll be with them the entire year to make sure they're up and running and experts in their field. So that's amazing. Just to the viewers out there, get signed up at RPhAlly.com, then go to Kristin's page, and that's where you can get plugged in there, or Kristin's channel. So that's it from me, Kristin. We're really excited to have you on board, and I think this can really impact, like Kevin said, everybody. You know that it doesn't matter what your background is, you can get in and start going. So. Nice work, and thank you.
Absolutely. Awesome. I started out of a gym. You can do it. You can do it.
Oh, I love it. No, I think once again, that tenacity is it's so infectious. Well, thank you so much, guys. And we'll talk to you
guys.